Hello everyone and welcome to Module 5. Last week was a pretty busy week. We did some things I hope you found interesting. I know it was busy for you because you were preparing your first paper of the term. I appreciate the effort and work that you've invested in doing this first paper. I'm very much looking forward to reading them. We also looked at the topic of conformity, which I think most students find pretty interesting. We read a couple of articles describing some studies, some research, and we also looked at a video. And from what I could tell from the discussion, most of you had pretty interesting thoughts and ideas about that. There's a kind of a bias. I asked the question about whether humans are mindless lemmings based upon some of what we saw. The video is a great example of conformity. And there seems to be a little bit of a bias, I think, in terms of thinking that no, humans are not mindless lemmings. I want to suggest to you that perhaps human beings are not the best judge of that. I don't know who would be, but we have a kind of vested interest in our own sense of self, our identities, to not think of ourselves as mindless. And that's, of course, understandable. So there was a clear slant in the discussion toward arguing that human beings are not mindless lemmings. That's not to say that it's not correct, but it was interesting to see how we all sort of came to our defense as individuals. But again, that video of what took place in the waiting room was a pretty interesting depiction of the kinds of conformity in which we engage without any clear rational basis for it. Anyway, I enjoyed your comments and observations in the discussion. This week we're going to take up a subject that's a little bit different than what we've been discussing thus far, and that is emotions. All of us have a rational side and an emotional side, and to some extent that the balance between those two varies from individual to individual. I hope you'll enjoy looking at some of the information on what emotions are, where they come from, what they do for us, and how they can sometimes get in the way. We'll also look at the topic of status. All of us are very aware of our status positions in life. For instance, I have the status of professor, you have the status of student, and there's certain responsibilities and obligations that go along with those statuses. And we all occupy numerous statuses in life. Some of you are parents. All of you at one time or another, or even now, are children of parents. And again, we have roles and responsibilities that go along with those different statuses, and sometimes they butt up against each other and get in the way. The demands in meeting our roles as parents sometimes conflict with the demands in meeting our roles as lawyers, doctors, professors, plumbers, whatever occupation may be. So we'll have a chance to look at some of those conflicts as well. I hope you are working on your projects. Those aren't due this week. They're due at the end of week 7. So you still have some time to work on them. I appreciate the score sheets that you've sent in, and I hope that you're making good progress on those projects. As always, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to connect with me. I'll be glad to do my best to answer them. I'm really looking forward to reading the papers this week and getting back to you with some feedback. So have a great week, and I will see you, as always, on the discussion board.